Yep. Call the county board meeting to order. Stand for a moment of silence and pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Looking for approval of the regular meeting agenda.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Hull, second by Commissioner Felber. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do we have anybody for open forum?
We do not have anybody for open forum, Board Chair.
Moving right along, we're at the consent agenda. Bruce, anything that you need to address?
Yes, I'd like, if the board is willing to take as a separate action, item 3, and under the request of Commissioner Felber, item 10. So if we could pull those off and take them individually after the consent agenda.
So I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda, pulling items 3 and 10.
I'll second that.
Moved by Commissioner Hull, second by Commissioner Felber. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? We'll address number 3 right off the bat then, Bruce.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. Just wanted to note we had not received the financial assurance for this particular action. And so the recommendation of staff is that you approve it with the additional words in the motion of contingent upon the licensee securing financial assurance in the amount of $50,000 in accordance with section 5.9 of the County Solid Waste Management Ordinance. That would then allow the action to proceed. Once they do that, then administratively we verify it so we don't have to bring it back to you.
Mr. Administrator, is that item 8 or item 3 from the consent agenda?
I'm sorry, it's item 8, my bad. So we'll have to go, if you would let's undo our action. Sorry, I took the wrong 9.
Let's try this again.
Yeah, this is my bad. So if you would approve item 3 and then reconsider item 8 under consent agenda.
Approve item 3.
Second.
Okay.
We just
Felber moves.
just
Mr.
approved.
Schumacher seconds item number 3. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now we're on number 8.
So we would need a motion to reconsider item 3.8.
Mr. Chairman, I make that motion.
I'll second that.
Commissioner Schumacher makes the motion, second by Commissioner Felber. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now we will.
Thank you. This is Robert's Rules Class 101 today.
There
So,
you go. We'll-
all right. So item
confused.
3.8, I got the 3 right. I just forgot the 8. So Mr. Lucas has suggested that the following contingency be added to the motion as you see it in front of you. So it'd still be to approve contingent upon the licensee securing financial assurance in the amount of $50,000 in accordance with section 5.9 of the County Solid Waste Management Ordinance. A little bit of background, we expect this will be completed this week, so we didn't want to table this for a whole 2 weeks. And then administratively, we'll make sure that secured financial assurance is in place prior to the issuance of the license.
Okay, I'm looking for a motion from what Bruce said.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve what the county administrator had said on item number 8, considering the approval of the renewal of the county solid waste license for Elk River Composing Site, Inc.
I'll
Second that.
Motion by Commissioner Schumacher, second by Commissioner Felber. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Number 10.
You want to start? Go
I'll
ahead.
just start this off. Yeah, I just, I was opposed to getting the electric vehicles in the first place. And then for a very short period of time, I was okay with it because we had already got the grant. But I just can't vote on this as part of the block because the first part of the project has already gone cost overrun. I know we're borrowing the money from the vehicle fund itself, but I just feel like, it's not county levy dollars, it's not county collected dollars, it is federal grant dollars, but I just feel like we're throwing a lot of taxpayer dollars after a program that's simply not going to work, and I can't vote to support it. That's 100% the deal.
And I would just note, you know, engineers' estimates can be off on road projects and other things. What Andrew did was he adjusted within the grant funds, which we also do fairly normally. So there's no additional local match, there's no additional levy dollars. The savings from the grant program, while it's more expensive to build the charging stations, it's less expensive to purchase the vehicles. And again, I would note for the board, if we don't proceed, I'll have to come back and replace 5 vehicles. So that would be local levy dollars. Again, we've structured our fleet to, we've already got the money, we've structured the fleet to accommodate that. So recommendation of staff is still to proceed. If you have a concern, you can again remind Andrew and I that if it goes over budget, to come back to you then at that point.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Schumacher.
so if I vote yes for this, do I get my parking spot back? Or is it no out in the West Fort? Where do I get to park on the West Fort?
We are gonna need to bring a whole thing of Snickers in here for him to chew on during a meeting, I think, to get him off of this. But I'd say no.
Okay, I'm just checking.
Mr. Chair, I guess my feeling on this is, once again, I would rather us use the grant to purchase the vehicles, but it's contingent for me on us making sure that we do the proper study, and I want to know what the total cost of ownership is, year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever the life is that we do on a fleet vehicle like this, compared to our standard vehicles with internal combustion engines. I think it'd behoove us to look at the total cost of ownership of these vehicles versus other, and then we can make a decision in the future, do these vehicles make sense for our fleet? And if they do, great. If it's a lower cost, total cost of ownership, great. If they're not, then that tells us, you know, to stick with high efficiency internal combustion vehicles.
Yeah.
But I think the important part here is let's just not buy them and then, let it go. Let's buy them and let's do the homework and the study and report back on what that total cost of ownership looks like.
And that's exactly why we're doing this. The grant allows us to test the vehicles to see if they're good for our fleet, not just from a cost standpoint, but also from an operational standpoint. I mean, if we can't drive them up to St. Cloud for a meeting and back, they're not functional. And so it's a low cost to test them, but I'll also tell you TED's software that we have for fleet management does exactly what you want it to do. So I think, though, the difference would be we'd write back, we'll report back with the total fleet assessment, and this being a subset. I wouldn't just bring this subset back, because then you won't have the context.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, the example we've run into is we have older vehicles that cost more to maintain than they do to replace. So, we do this with all the fleet vehicles. It's a slightly different with these because they are EVs, but I think it'll be a good, within the next, I would say 3 to 5 years, we'll have a good idea.
And I think that's a good study, and I think we'll be able to make data-based decisions moving forward on what the fleet should look like.
Yeah, and like I said, the new software, we actually track operations. So if you ever want to have fun, get Dan talking about the bad person list. I can't call it the bad boy list. And we get a list of vehicles that are driving over speed, so we can follow up with our own staff. So unsafe driving is tracked. Obviously, the hours on each vehicle, it's a pretty good metrics. So if you're ever interested, we can also do either a full study or just set up time for you to see what Ted and the fleet guys look at. And I won't speak for Andrew's vehicles, because are you on the same system, or do you do your own tracking then?
We do our own tracking.
Right, so.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion then to approve the lowest responsive bidder for the EV charging stations.
Motion by Commissioner Danielowski,
Second,
second by Commissioner Schumacher. Any further discussion?
I still prefer to drive fleet number 3.
Noted.
Noted, yep. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on to announcements. Bruce.
Thank you, and I'll just give you a quick little subset on that. We are looking actually at those particular spots, not for you, Brad, but just in general. Partly because things have changed. So, for instance, we've done an internal tracking with our VSO, and Larry's identified that the spot out of door B for veterans is actually not used because it was there with the intention of car service, basically, especially during COVID. So I think we'll probably adjust that. And that's, again, where we'll be deploying fleet vehicles, especially the EV ones, during the day closer in case employees think it's difficult to ride and we start seeing self-selection of vehicles where people say, I don't want to walk to the EV. So we'll be doing some adjustment as well of those signage. And I think you recall, at least those who've been on the board a couple of years, that we also looked at winter charging, for those who have heat blocks and things like that. And it gets really expensive, is interesting, trying to run wire or even putting up those, what do you call them, Andrew, the stops, the car stops, the curb stops. The curb stops. We thought about putting a curb because right now our vehicles can drive and tip over the signs actually because there's no hard stop there. But that's all capital money and that goes into our prioritization. And if it's fix your roof or put a curb stop, you can imagine what we're choosing, so. Okay, shifting to announcements, a couple things. First of all, we have a guest with us, and I'd like to maybe spend just a couple of minutes and reintroduce for you Derek Moe. Derek is with MREA, which is the Minnesota Rural Electrics Association, or how do you say it, Derek?
Yep, Minnesota Rural Electric Association. Thank you.
Derek came and spoke as well as a representative from Connexus, Mr. Brandt. Talked to a couple of commissioners about the nuclear moratorium in Minnesota. We talked about this briefly last meeting. What I'm doing today is a part of announcements is I'm preparing a letter with your consent to join the MREA. We would be the second county, I believe, and Derek, you can correct me if I'm wrong, to do that. It is consistent with AMC's policy. Again, we'll be amending that policy or having you asked to amend it to specifically advocate not just for the removal of the moratorium in Minnesota, but also to pilot or allow for demonstration for SMRs, which are small modular reactors and micro reactors, as well as, Derek, and I don't think you listened to the previous meeting, also the potential for Gen 4, Gen 5 reactors, which could include fusion or non-fissionable reactors. So Derek was just going to do a very brief introduction, answer any questions you might have, and then I would just look for consent of the board to finish that letter after you hear from Derek. So welcome, Derek.
Thank you. I appreciate your taking the time and appreciate the commissioners looking into this issue. We certainly think it's an important one. At MREA, we represent the 50 rural electric cooperatives across the state of Minnesota. There's, of course, quite a lot of interest between the work that rural electric cooperatives are doing and counties are doing. This is a great example where we think nuclear energy needs to be important consideration in the state's future. With our energy goals in the state, we think it's inappropriate that we have a moratorium prohibiting us from building new nuclear energy facilities in the state of Minnesota. We think it's really necessary that we do that in order to have, the only carbon-free resource that is available regardless of weather conditions, available as an option to continue to keep the grid reliable and costs affordable into the future. And so we are part of the Minnesota Nuclear Energy Alliance. That's actually the group that you'd referenced that you'd be signing on to join the Minnesota Nuclear Energy Alliance, which has the sole purpose of working to lift the moratorium. So really appreciate your taking time to consider this and working with us on this goal. I want to keep it brief, but would love to answer any questions or talk a little more about anything in particular that you would find helpful this morning.
Well, I'm super glad you're here today because I literally just yesterday sent off an email to the REA asking who I would contact about this nuclear moratorium. I'm on the Governor's Energy Transition Advisory Committee. And so now that I know who I'm supposed to contact, I want to get all the information I can to bring up to that committee so that we can try to get the Energy Transition Advisory Committee also working towards this goal because base power load is so essential. And it's just too cold up here in the wintertime to not have solid, usable base power load. So it's great that we're trying to move towards this.
Anyone
Thank
else?
you. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I just want to comment. So Commissioner Gray and I met with the team. When was that? Last week?
Yeah, August
2 weeks
6th.
ago.
August 6th, yeah. And, you know, this is something that we have talked about, frankly, for, what, almost 4 years now.
3.5 for
3.5
sure.
years. And we think it's a vital part of the economic development, just not of the state, but specifically of Sherburne County. We are in a unique position with our infrastructure that we currently have in place. We're in a unique position because of the directives to shut down Sherco. And so I think this is just not, you know, an academic exercise. This is vital for the economic development of Sherburne County. So I'm pleased to be a part of this.
Well, I think the main thing for us is I think we're supportive of renewables, but in the same sense, I don't think we understand what the consumption's going to be in the future years, and to bring anything from a baseload energy standpoint on is a 5, 10, 15-year project, and we're going to need that electricity at that point in time. I don't think there's any doubt about that in that aspect.
And Mr. Chair, they've come so far in advancements in nuclear energy from back in the day. I mean, this is really a moratorium that has long lived its life. It's time to remove it, get into the modern century of what nuclear energy does and provides. So I am very supportive that we move in this direction.
And I will just remind the public that the Navy has operated one version or another of small nuclear reactors for 70 years. So I think we're well past time.
Right. And we've all had except for Brad, I think, had the privilege of going through the nuclear plant in Monticello. And I mean, tremendous facility, but again, when you are in that facility, you can see that the technology is from the 1960s that was been made. And I don't think any of us think twice of that facility sitting there.
We're going to get Brad in on a tour, but we have to work on the
He'll be
metal
more worried
plate.
about a parking
Got to
spot.
take care of the metal plate first, you know.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, that's it.
And the park.
Yeah. Just a footnote. So, Derek, when we start doing our legislative efforts, I will tell you that our commissioners, I think, in unison would be willing to assist with in-person meetings as well. So think about that as we move forward.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you. Yeah, we really great comments. Really appreciate the work together. Look forward to continuing to work on it.
So then I'll just take a consensus of the board that we'll finish the letter, and if you want for the minutes, if there would be a motion and a second to authorize us joining the coalition, that would be a good direction for me.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Moved by Commissioner Hull, second by Commissioner Felber. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Thanks, Derek. If you want to watch more sausage being made, stick around. So.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Derek.
Let's transition to quick calendar call. So if you want to get out your laptops, a couple things. And just a note on this, I'll start with this and we'll circle back to it. We're having a good challenge, which is technology allows us to do a lot of things for organizing meetings. But one of the things that would be very helpful, and again, I'll circle back to this, would be if you, and I know it's an extra step, but if you have the time and you'd be willing to put your county-related meetings on your Outlook calendar associated with your county email, it would be helpful for Keisha and I and your staff that we can do a more efficient look to see if you're available. A certain commissioner has suggested that multiple doodle polls a day might be more disorganizing for you than maybe using the calendar. And so I'm hoping that that's a possibility. Keisha tracks, annually we try to track when meetings are regularly scheduled. And I think as part of our annual exercise, we can populate those calendars. But as you know, your committees change when they meet. And so when we're trying to organize, especially all 5 of you, we've been sending out basically open-ended requests, and it would be a little bit of an efficiency benefit if we could at least look at your Outlook calendar first. Does that make sense?
Yeah, let me just make a quick comment. So for anybody that doesn't know, when I got my phone and my computer set up with IT here, what they were able to do is they were able to, on my personal phone, set up such that the meetings that are on my county calendar get forwarded to my personal phone. So consequently, when I look at my calendar, I can see all my business meetings, personal meetings, et cetera. But then in a different color is all my calendar meetings, county meetings, and they're all on the county Outlook system as well. So anybody that wants to do that, IT can set that up for you, and I find it extremely helpful. That way, everything for mine is on one calendar, but all of my county meetings are on the county Outlook system. So it's very handy.
If I can comment. Yeah, I mean, I did that for my own, and I ended up putting everything, and I'm the one who started this, actually. Because despite the fact that pretty well known that I am technologically impaired, I was able to get it hooked up to where my county phone goes to my personal phone. I put everything I'm doing in my county phone because otherwise I'm not going to remember where I'm supposed to be at. And then it transfers to my personal phone. And the thing that I thought was really amazing is that using Outlook, I can pull everybody's calendar, look at them together, and pick a day in the next month, 2 months, whatever time I want to do. I mean, the more people you get on the screen, the more difficult it gets, but it's really easy if all 5 commissioners put their stuff on there, so I'm able to pull it up and see, I have 6 days, I'll send the, because you're not necessarily going to have everything on there and something might come up, but then they would be at least shooting at 5 days when we don't have anything on our calendars, if we could do that. And I just think that that would be, I have so many meetings now that I don't have weeks where I don't have conflicts. That's just all there is to it. There's a lot of catch up, but I thought this would be more efficient. And I thought, by golly, if I can do it, pretty much anyone can, so.
Now, I'm gonna join Don's staff here as a junior assistant wannabe attorney and just remind you, however, that I think it's good to do that, but the whole intent and purpose, and this is a choice, so it's a personal choice. The whole intent of having a separate county phone is that should there be a public data request, it's easier for us to do that. If you're forwarding your emails to your personal phone and if you're sending your calendar, there is a potential that under data request, Don will get to look at your personal phone for a couple of hours just to verify that there's not data on that personal phone. Just be aware. I think it's great for synergy. What we really want to do is we'll only look at your Outlook calendar. We will never look at your personal phone administratively, but just know if there's a cross-fertilization, even for calendars, if somebody says, you know, did Greg have a meeting on, you know, on that space alien port being built by, you know, the NASA, we'll have to look and
We weren't
figure it
supposed
out.
to talk about that.
I know. Oh, so, but that, I mean, again, that's a personal risk. We all face it too. Like I only carry one phone, and I know that Don's going to look at pictures of my AI generated 5-pound walleye when it was really a 5-ounce guppy. But you know, that's the price of tea in China. How'd I do?
One thing too, Mr. Chair, I was just talking to Keisha this morning. At the moment, I think I have 3 doodle polls going. And so what I think I might be available for, I'm also saying I might be available for the other 2 doodle polls. So it isn't necessarily a one-size-fits-all solution.
Yeah, and we're trying to migrate away from the doodle polls. One of the good things is Outlook is progressing, and so they now have an Outlook version. So you may see more of Outlook requests versus doodle. But Keisha, do you want to jump in? You look like you want to add.
Oh, I was just going to say that we have tried the Outlook poll in the past, previous to the 4 of the gentlemen sitting on the dais. And it has advanced a lot better than that first couple times we tried to attempt it, where it flooded your guys' calendars with every single date that was proposed, all being tentative until one is decided. It has advanced since its first output, so it's just like Doodle Poll, only we're working in one system.
All right, the adult on the dais wants to talk, so go ahead, Don.
I had to look to see who that was. I would say, right. Just be mindful too on that, the issue too of data storage, that it isn't just also an issue of whether or not, our office would have to look at it, but also that there may be circumstances where we are required to provide that, and it is not up to a county entity to be making that evaluation. So just be mindful of that as well.
Yeah, and there is a data retention policy, so forwarding it is no big deal as long as it's still in your Outlook. If you generate public data on your personal devices, we should talk a little bit about how you archive that, because it is a requirement of statute as well.
Well, let's be clear. So the calendar functionality is only a mirror. So it's not forwarding the meeting requests.
Correct.
It's not forwarding data. It's a mirror to the calendar.
But we still may be obligated to verify that.
Yep,
if we're in a
which
legal
is fine. But it's not. It's different than forwarding, an email request and getting it accepted in in a new calendar. It's
True.
It's just mirroring the data that's housed on the county site.
Correct. And I'll tell you, it's rare in my 30-some years of doing this, it's rare that we ever see a data request like that. I've had it once, and I'll tell you it was interesting because the commissioner was using AOL and for a personal email, and the AOL only archives 10 days. So when we had to do a data request, we had no physical way of looking back into previous emails on a personal email server. That might have been county related. So then we have to go through the whole process of basically a attestation, and go through that, which is difficult. But it's so rare, but it is something just to be aware of. So the more you populate your personal device, the more there is a chance that it might come into play. So, all right, switching to other calendar discussions real quick, since we're on calendars. Brad reminded me that Mark's retirement from the History Center, if you're going, just a reminder, it's Friday, August 29th, 15 years of service for his retirement, and it's, if you want to go, a luncheon at 11:30. It's an RSVP for the luncheon, and the open house is from 1 to 3. I'll pass this around, and then Keisha, if you get that one back to Brad, that would be great. Second of all, speaking of doodle polls, Andrew is still trying to schedule a fall tour. It may be something that we're only going to get 4 out of 5 of you, but that's okay. We'll figure it out. Again, we just try to get out for about, 3 to 4 hours? Usually grab a bus and go out and see some of the roads and bridges that you hear about here. And then the other comment, just a note, thank you for responding to Tammy for our jail staff discussions coming up with our County Connects. I do have 2 large open meetings that I would like to see if 1 or 2 commissioners for each would be willing to attend. The first is on Tuesday, October 14th from 11 to 11:45, and the second one is Wednesday, October 22nd from 11 to 11:45. And typically those are larger because they're in the Maple Room. And if there are 2 commissioners that would want to support us during our County Connect meetings and lead the conversation, that would be great.
What time is the October 14th one?
The 14th is 11 to 11:45 in the morning, and the 22nd is also 11 to 11:45.
I can probably tell you here, and
I can do that one,
Which one?
the October 14th one.
The 14th? Okay, so I've got Rayanne for the 14th.
You'll send me out, you can send me out an email.
8 doodle polls, yeah, followed by snail mail.
Okay.
Yeah, okay,
And you had me doing the County Connect meeting that afternoon, correct?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and we'll do a final, we'll put them on your Outlook calendar or send them as invites, but these are the 2 that I needed at least 1 commissioner at.
I'm good for either one.
Either one? Okay.
No, that's fine.
Just let me know which one.
Yep, so I have at least 1 person covering both. So if you are available and you want to attend, just let me know after the meeting or anytime soon. We can move around, but I at least have Rayanne for the 14th and Gary for the 22nd. Okay, and then the,
22nd, I'll be here anyhow doing County Connects, so.
in the afternoon, so do you want to come earlier then? Okay. Gary, you and Greg can tag team then?
On the 22nd?
Yep.
Got
Yep.
it.
All right, you
Good.
guys won't fight now, all right?
No.
So, okay.
We're fine.
We're good. We're separate. Maple Room's big.
Maple's big, I gotta put you on the north and south ends. All right. I think that's it for calendar call. Last thing is we had a couple fun things on, so Keisha's going to pull up a PowerPoint. For me, it's in the folder. We had a couple of things, and you guys had some questions about them, so I wanted to show a couple of things. Yeah, is that the presentation one? Yeah. Yeah. So I thought we should share this on a little lighter note, a couple things. So, a commissioner asks, why are we talking about Lawrence Welk? So I thought this was neat. There's, one of the fun things we get to do is when community members have passion and it connects with local government, it makes a lot of sense. So this gentleman that you had information in your consent agenda is very passionate about Lawrence Welk and about the Lawrence Welk Show, and has been collecting letters from all across the country, actually, supporting the 75th anniversary of the Lawrence Welk Show. And it was really neat to read it and the passion behind it, and other cities and counties in Minnesota were saying, yeah, let's do this. So I put it on your agenda, that's why. You can see Lawrence Welk Show aired from 1951 to 1982. The 75th anniversary officially will be May of next year. Keisha will scroll down just a little bit so you can see the second line of the text. Okay. It basically aired nationally from 1955. So this is the 70th anniversary of the national airing of Lawrence Welk, and we're coming up on the 75th anniversary. The trivia question for today is, where did Lawrence Welk show begin airing in 1951, since it was nationally in 55? So where do you believe it was filmed? Rand?
I have no idea. My question was, I wonder how many people are even going to know who Lawrence Welk is.
Well, let's see here. We've got some.
And a
The
two.
1 and the 2 and the 3.
We've got some millennials here. Do you know who Lawrence Welk is? June, do you know Lawrence Welk?
I've heard of him, I don't really know, I never watched the show.
You've heard of him. Dave knows. He's shaking his head. Lynn's like, oh yeah. Gina, do you know Lawrence Welk? Okay. All right. So,
One and a two.
Champagne music.
Saturday nights.
2 and
any idea where he first aired?
I'm going to guess Minneapolis just because you're leading with us.
No, it was actually California, Burbank Studios.
Okay.
So, okay, just a little bit connections for Lawrence Welk. Early career, these are Minnesota connections. This is the why question I got. Lawrence Welk's orchestra toured the upper Midwest, including playing for audiences in Minneapolis. Radio broadcasts in 1937. Welk's band had an engagement at the St. Paul Hotel in St. Paul, and a radio broadcast in the hotel on KSTP, or KTSP back then, St. Paul, sorry. Welk graduated from the McPhail School of Music in Minneapolis. He and his orchestra played at the Oaks nightclub in Rochester in 1948. And a touring theater company called the Sod House Theater was inspired by the Lawrence Welk Show, a Minnesota touring company. So there are some unique Minnesota connections to Lawrence Welk. The second thing that I wanted to share with you, second slide, we got a wonderful note, and it's nice to share good news. This is the signs that Andrew has put up. And I'll read quickly while you read yourself. This is the Orville Sigurd Anderson Memorial signs located on County Road 43. On behalf of Orville's family, including 2 surviving siblings, I want to thank you for all of your effort, encouragement, and leadership in successfully honoring my uncle's service and ultimate sacrifice in World War II. Your actions have shown to all who may see these striking signs that you and our county care deeply about the duty, honor, and sacrifice that I believe is reflective of all military service. As a nephew of Orville's, a U.S. Army combat veteran of Iraq, and a resident of Sherburne County, I thank you and deeply appreciate what you and your county colleagues have accomplished. Forever grateful, Michael Anderson of Big Lake. So I just think it's nice that we end on a positive note, and I thank Commissioner Danielowski for keeping us moving forward. She's a good, quiet prod when Andrew and I are busy doing other things, and I also thank Andrew's staff for his work, and I thank the county board for adopting a policy allowing us to do this on behalf of Orville Sigurd Anderson. And that's the end of announcements.
Okay.
Standing.
You used Rayanne and quiet in the same sentence. You understand that?
Sometimes.
Just wanted
Not
to
all the
clarify
time,
that.
but sometimes.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make a quick comment on Lawrence Welk. My only reason to ask the question was because in the packet, it didn't have a lot of back information. It's like all of a sudden, okay, we're gonna talk about Lawrence Welk. Okay, what prompted that? And you now have explained. If you could share some of that backstory with us, as to what some of those emails were. And
Sure, sure.
that would be great.
Yeah, and that was trivia question number 2, is what do, and you guys, if you know this, don't answer, we'll see, I'm gonna do a random thing. What is the thing that Lawrence Welk used to hold up and do
One
this?
and the two and the
one.
three.
And what's it called? A baton. That's exactly right. Lynn's our trivia expert, by the way, so. I can't do trivia in staff meetings because between Lynn and Tony, they get about 90% of trivia questions correct.
Everything stopped at our house for Lawrence Welk when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We had 2 channels and it was gonna be always tuned to Lawrence Welk when he was on.
Yeah, see, what I was gonna do is put a picture of Lawrence Welk and one of Liberace together and see who could tell the difference, but I knew some of us would know it immediately, so.
Thank you.
Okay, we're moving on. Under 5.1, regular agenda, Andrew, acknowledge GIS staff and receipt of special awards and achievements in GIS award.
Thank you,
Morning.
Mr. Chair. Good morning, County Board members. So we're generally a pretty humble group of individuals and don't really care for the limelight, but wanted to take the opportunity today quickly to recognize not only the GIS staff, but also the cooperation and partnership with planning and zoning. A number of years ago, we were faced with a outdated, unsupported system in order to get that up and running in regards to the permitting of the building permits and a number of other permits within planning and zoning. It was going to cost in the range of about $500,000. We quickly brainstormed and figured that we could probably create something in-house and save us hundreds of thousands of dollars. And lo and behold, a couple years later, after going through a lean process and a number of other meetings, our GIS staff, in coordination with planning and zoning, was able to create the permitting system that exists today. I think it's been functioning very well. I think that it helps with customer service. It gives 365 access to people that are looking to apply for permits. It's created a lot of efficiencies, a lot of savings, and I think planning and zoning would probably also say that it's nice to be able to walk across the hallway when you need support versus picking up the phone and not knowing who you're going to end up getting. So we applied and received the Special Achievement GIS Award at the national conference a couple of months ago. This is not a small award. This is a fairly substantial award. There was only one other award issued in Minnesota in regards to the special achievement. And it should be noted too that, you know, this is a conference of thousands and thousands of agencies and entities, not just public, but also private. So this is a pretty big accomplishment, and it's getting some attention nationwide for people that utilize tools and applications similar to this. You know, it's springboarding us into other work as well in regards to some of the other permit processes in planning and zoning. So we're excited to see those come to fruition as well and continue to develop this product, you know, to help enhance the end user, as well as the internal use here at Sherburne County into the future. So with that, want to just acknowledge Jenna Walls down here. Thank you. And Brett is leading the GIS team. Also Carrie sitting next to Jenna was a big part of it, and Lynn with the support of the department head and planning and zoning as well. But it took a team to build this, and it's a pretty special award. Again, that's not just handed out easily. So it's a huge accomplishment, and wanted to acknowledge that.
Mr. Chair, I want to also thank everybody for all their hard work. I know this has been a work in progress, and the results, as we can see, you guys deserve every bit of this recognition, because I know it was not an easy lift. And I know the planning and zoning and the residents of Sherburne County are going to benefit greatly from having a more streamlined process. So thank you for all of your efforts and your hard work.
Yeah,
And
this is really,
congratulations.
this is an example of really internal efficiencies, and I really think this is a great example. And we're not done. I mean, we're going to look at what it means to maintain it and potentially, this is down the road, but even monetize it by having this, you know, it's highly customized to our needs, but potentially there could be a functionality for other counties, which happens occasionally in the past. We used a Wright County system for a while, and then we had SKIP, which some of you remember internally. But this is our latest effort, so really kudos to the staff, and Lynn's going to say a few words about its operational, I think.
I was just going to say, can we quickly trademark it?
Yeah. I just wanted to add, in addition to the $500,000 that we saved up front, there's annual fees of tens of thousands of dollars that we're not having to pay because we're able to work with the Public Works Department. So it's a continual savings for the residents of Sherburne County.
Awesome.
Yeah, and just throw my 2 cents in. I'm a big advocate when we're using IT systems or new software systems on really taking a hard look at whether or not we can buy something off the shelf and utilize it without customization, or it's the make versus buy decision. And this state in general has not have a good track record of designing software systems.
And modernizing.
And so I think it even attests further to the fact of how well this was done, because this was a good make versus buy decision, and the functionality is excellent. And so I think you guys proved that it can be done well. And so I think it's a great accomplishment, and I think you guys have done a wonderful job with it. So I really appreciate the work that went into it.
Andrew, do you want to introduce the staff who's here? Because I think we got 2 or 3 here, right?
Yeah, sure can. So we got Brett Forbes, who leads our GIS department on the far end there. Jenna Walls, who is our senior GIS specialist. Do I have that correct? So those are the 2 that we have here, and we've got Melissa Gearman, who's back in the office, helping out with support and some of the other functionalities in GIS as well.
Also Carrie Winter.
Oh, yeah, and Carrie's there too, so we got to make sure.
Yeah.
And Carrie with planning and zoning.
Yeah.
So now that you've done this so well, can you do the template now for Health and Human Services and what they deal with the state? Maybe you can design something the state can adopt.
Something other than the DOS system that they use in the green screen, right? So, thank you.
Well, congratulations, everyone.
Thank you.
And just so you know, Brad said earlier that since we saved the county tens of thousands of dollars, he is expecting that in his bonus, so.
Well, when we start to work on the HHS systems, I'm willing to donate my Commodore 64 for their upgrade.
Hey, you're better than me. I have a trash 80, so.
All right, moving on. Number 2, consider approval of scope of work with Houston Engineering for Vonco residential well sampling. Dave and June. June, Dave's sitting.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and County Board. My name is June Volkers. I am hydrogeologist in planning and zoning. I am requesting to approve a scope of work with Houston Engineering for the sampling of residential wells, downgrading of Vonco 1, the closed construction and demolition landfill in Big Lake. It will cost $22,500 and will be used from the solid waste surcharge fees.
I think this is a really good idea. I would move that we.
This is ongoing, right?
Yep, yeah, we've been doing it pretty regular since 2012, and then this year we added 3 additional residential wells. So the map that I provided, it shows kind of like the full range of wells that are in that neighborhood.
Just from a layman's standpoint, what are you testing for?
The same parameters that the landfill is being tested for 3 times a year. So a number of different constituents like volatile organic compounds, dissolved metals, general field parameters like pH and oxidation reduction potential. And then this year, we're also adding PFAS. So that's kind of the increase in the cost from last year and previous years.
Mr. Chair?
Commissioner Danielowski.
Yes, this is ongoing. This happens to be in my district. It's a closed waste facility. And I'm assuming on the PFAS, are you looking to see if there's any degradation or something coming off of the plastics that might have been put in that landfill?
Yep,
And maybe entered the water system possibly?
Yeah, potentially. There haven't been any hits on or exceedances on health risk limits that we've, like, to date. The only hits we've really had is like high manganese, which is naturally occurring.
And the 3 wells you've added, is that because there's been some new house builds, or you just are encompassing? Because when I looked at the map, it looked like there were houses that were by these houses that were already previously in the well testing process, and now you've added, they look like they're on the same block.
Correct, yeah. Did you want to?
Yeah, we identified there may be some gaps in the monitoring.
Okay,
So those are the wells that we picked up where there's a potential for a plume, if there were to be a plume. So if you, Keisha, if you want to pull up the map. Scroll up. So groundwater flow is straight south to the river. And so we're just looking where there is a potential gap in the down gradient residential well. So those are the 3 wells that additional residential wells that we picked up. And as the board knows, this is an old unlined landfill.
Exactly.
Which is the rationale behind why we started this testing back in 2012.
yep. So I appreciate the new addition of those 3 new well to be tested. And that looks like we've hit pretty much everything in that range to the river. Are we at any point looking to potentially add the properties that are to the west of some of those test sites?
Potentially, but the groundwater's flowing pretty much straight to the river, so
Okay.
straight south from this
Okay, so
facility.
you feel you've encompassed everything now that's in that area?
Correct.
Okay,
Do
thank
you
you.
provide the test results to the residents?
We do,
You do?
Yep.
Are they tested for nitrates too? Just out of curiosity.
yes.
They are, okay.
Okay. With that, Mr. Chair, I will make a motion to.
Already moved that.
Pardon?
Already
You did
moved
that?
approval earlier.
I didn't hear that.
Okay.
Okay, I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes. Thank you, June.
All right, thank you.
If you, if you wonder or you ever get questions about why we have so many funds in Dave's slush fund, it's not his retirement account. It is for exactly this. We could be in this business for decades.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's monitoring. And then if there is cleanup, we may be the RGU for actual cleanup. And you can burn through not just millions, but tens of millions of dollars quickly on any type of contamination, whether it's water or soil or even land or air-based contamination. So when people say, "Oh, look at all the money you've got reserved," well, that's because we're going to be around if bad things happen, or I should probably say, Dave, when bad things happen.
Yes.
Some of these companies may not, especially as Commissioner Danielowski says, if they have LLC after their name. But that's the whole purpose of managing our fund. So when you think about the solid waste fund and you see there, there's 7 or even 8 figures in that fund, it's not a lot of money if this thing goes south. So
I remember one in Minneapolis where they had to burn hundreds of thousands of yards of dirt. That was the only way to clean the soil. They actually had to burn it. It took a couple of years of just continually burning soil. So if you get something, these old lined C&D you don't really know what's in there. You know, it's all supposed to be construction and demolition, but there could have been a lot of stuff dumped in there with it.
Yeah, it's crazy. To your point on burning, in Moorhead when I was up there, we had one dry cleaner and one gas station that swore up and down that all of the tanks had been removed. And when there was a redevelopment in downtown, the city acquired both of those properties. The soil was green from the landfill, or from the dry cleaner. And this goes right into the Red River, which of course flows up into Winnipeg and is not as pristine as the Mississippi, but it was significant. And the city of Moorhead had to pay to haul dirt from Moorhead all the way down to, where did they burn it here, Dave? Is it Burnsville, Bloomington? It's the Veit or Veit company. And they burned the dirt there to clean it and then hauled it back up to Moorhead.
Yeah, actually also, Chris Krieger with Elk River Landfill it's called a soil roaster.
Yep.
Ran that operation for a while and went around the state just looking for these old brownfield sites and you get the soil up to a certain temperature and you destroy the hydrocarbons in the soils but the metals are still there.
Yep.
That's the problem.
Yep.
Alrighty.
All right, moving on.
Good morning.
Good morning. Consider approval of preliminary and final plat of Belmont Pines, Sheldon and Josette Pool. Lynn?
And this is for 2 lots. This is in Livonia Township, in the General Rural District and the Urban Expansion District. Planning Commission recommended approval with 3 conditions in your packet.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion to approve with the 3 conditions.
And I'll
Moved by
second.
Commissioner Schumacher, second by Commissioner Hulls. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed. Number 4, consider approval of amendments to the Sherburne County 2040 Comprehensive Plan. Lynn?
And this is to account for incorporation of removing the city of Baldwin and to address changes in local planning documents and policy direction that we received from the county board. In your packet, you can see there were a number of amendments that were made to the comp plan to address the concerns and issues that the county board had. So we did make those. Planning Commission recommended approval. And those items, again, are in your packet.
I would move that we approve.
I'll
Moved by
second.
Commissioner Felber, second by Commissioner Danielowski. Any further discussion?
I'm just glad we do this, and we should do it. I don't know what the interval is, but we should look at it maybe annually or something. It'll be a smaller process the next time, I think.
All
And
those in favor?
Aye.
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 All those opposed?
Aye.
Moving on, number 5, consider approval of authorized Sherburne County subdivision of County Agriculture Inspector. Matt, welcome. And Mark.
I'm just going to introduce. Back in March, you appointed Matt Danzel as our county agricultural inspector. Matt's worked for the county for about 1.5 years as our water resource planner. Great wetland specialist. He's got a great knack for that ability. Came from different private consulting firms, so very knowledgeable in that area. And one of the duties that we put under him was the county agricultural inspector, and I'll let him give him kind of a summary of the opportunity that we have.
Welcome.
Morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. I'm here to seek a motion to approve and authorize submission of an application for the Minnesota Department of Agriculture's 2026 County Agriculture Inspector Grant in the amount of $28,000. Little background, in 2025, the Department of Agriculture was appropriated $500,000 from the Minnesota legislature to provide grants to county agriculture inspectors to support county duties by carrying out the required duties under the state noxious weed law. This is the first time the state has appropriated funds to support the mandated duties of the county ag inspector, and the $28,000 number comes from $8,000 for 130 hours for planning and zoning in a work plan that's been approved, and then roughly $20,000 for noxious weed management from Public Works. There is no county match required for this grant, and the grant application is due September 4th. And we plan on working with Public Works to hash out the details with the application. Any questions?
Any questions for Matt?
It's nice to see that there's an opportunity to hopefully get some funds to help offset the cost of a state mandate that gets put onto counties to do. So I would wholeheartedly make a motion to approve and authorize Sherburne County's submission of the County Agricultural Inspector Grant Fund for fiscal year '26.
We have a motion.
I'll move that we approve.
We need a second.
Need a second.
Huh?
Second.
Second.
Oh, I'll second them.
That's okay.
Whatever, either way.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
We're good.
Just a brief footnote too.
Lost track.
You notice that the action today was to approve the submission. We have not seen the agreement, so we will bring that back to you. What we're doing is we're being just really intentional of reviewing those. If you recall, when Kathy was under the helm, the state was pretty aggressive on COVID issues, so sometimes we had to flag things. Don will be reviewing this with respect to if there's any disconnect between county positions and the state positions on, and of course the things that there's disconnects, you saw them with Andrew's projects on the road where the feds were saying one thing and the state was saying other. In that case, it was particularly on DEI, so we had to deal with that. And so when we bring it back, just know it'll be scrubbed pretty closely.
Thank you. Number 6, receive and review and accept the Auditor Treasurer's monthly report for July 2025. Good morning, Lorraine.
Good morning, Commissioners. Enclosed in your packet was the July trial balance prepared by Accounting Manager Sherlyn Kapsner. That report includes the ARPA funds of $1,550,887.67 and the Recorder's Compliance Fund of $300,106. Also included in your report is the 3-page investment report prepared by Financial Officer Brenda Davis. Investment earnings are above budget by $865,411.14 at month end. Interest earnings year-to-date total $2,265,411.14 compared to $1,966,442.87 last year, ahead by $298,968.27 from the previous year. Also included is your budget to actual report, which is page 6. That is by function, and it is a modified accrual report. So, oh, sorry, Keisha, didn't realize you weren't caught up to me. The other thing I am reporting on today is on July 18th, the county did receive 1/2 of the county tax base equalization and county need aid for 2025 of $3,274,543.50. The second half will be received at the end of December 2025. Also received was the first half of the aquatic invasive species prevention aid of $37,569.50. Second half will also be received in December for a total of $75,139. The AIS funds are used in the prevention of the aquatic invasive species. The funds were distributed according to the resolution and guidelines that were adopted in November of 2014, authorizing the Soil and Water Conservation District to manage such funds and provide the county annual reports on such uses. So that is a pass-through that goes to the soil and water. And that is all I have for you today.
Mr. Chairman?
Commissioner Schumacher.
If I could circle back with the Auditor Treasurer on the report. On page 42, Keisha, do you go to page 42 for me? Just hit me to 42, I'll be there in 1 second. Page 42 of our packet.
All the way back to the top?
That's yard waste operation manual.
Gravel tax, my favorite thing. It'll matter. On
Probably
gravel?
142, Keisha.
Yeah, 142. 42. No, it's just 42. So on the treasurer report, when it comes through in the treasurer for Big Lake Township, City of Elk River, Haven Township, and it's quarterly, so second quarterly gravel tax revenue for each one of those. That comes in quarterly, right? That's the quarterly amount. Does it change in the winter months or does it stay consistent?
I actually do not know the answer to that.
That's a great question for
It's
later.
as we receive it, it's usually by the tonnage that's removed.
Yeah.
So it would make sense that that would be the case,
Higher in
but
the
I do not have the answer for that. I don't know.
Great question. We'll work on that for later. That's for
I have not tracked that, so.
a future.
Yeah, we'll check with, I think we'll see. My guess is gravel it goes down a bit in the winter, but I know they don't cease operations, but we'll look into it.
As far as, you're talking about the distribution to the townships and cities that are
Yes.
involved, yeah.
Right, but the actual activity of gravel some of the open pit mines are year-round, so, yeah.
Right.
For a later time. I just want to bring it up today. I make a motion to approve the financial report for the monthly report for July 2025.
We have a motion.
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Danielowski. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I just want to mention I did send in my second half property tax payment, so you're welcome.
Oh, yeah.
Aren't you a little early? Okay.
He'll be out of town.
Overachiever.
Wow, he won't be here.
He won't be.
They're not due till October. This is an overachiever.
Yeah, overachiever.
You're not getting a discount for that, Andrew.
Yeah, there's no early bonus.
Early bird, early bird discount, 5% off.
Early bird discount. All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you, Lorraine.
Thank you.
And now we're turning it over to Bruce. Update on discussion for 2026 county legislative priorities.
Yeah, I already talked a lot, so I'll just keep these brief. These are the issues that we're generating. Mostly you're going to see them first in the AMC amendment process. Just want to make sure I'm tracking correctly for what you have. So I'll call it the one that will be helping AMC with the most is to have the legislature relook at the mandate for the Minnesota African American Disproportionality Child Welfare Act to see if there's can be some either support or relief, mandate relief or financial support. And then ones that we'll be advocating for include the modification or raising of the nuclear moratorium in the state, the transition of health services to the state, and that would be a model change that would take multiple years. Property tax-based reform, modifications to the data center bill to see if there's a market left. And then Dan wanted me to note that we would really like to also push AMC to really go after assessor safety next year. In particular, what's happened is, I think this is kind of where the nexus will be. Sometimes our assessors are just not comfortable going onto properties. And right now, there's kind of an obligation in the administrative rules and the statute. And what we'd like to do is have the local county assessor have the discretion to essentially do a drive-by or desk audit on those properties that he or she determines are potentially life safety risk issues. So all we would seek is discretion for the assessor to determine if a desk audit or basically it's an aerial audit is warranted versus the physical inspection every 5 years. So that's a little bit nuanced. I want to make sure you're okay with that. And then potentially North Star may have some legislative issues in terms of any type of refunding for our earlier investments in North Star. So those are the ones I'm tracking. If you have others that I missed, I'd love to hear it now, but these are the ones I'm working on. And just a little footnote on North Star. I think we had a pretty good call with MnDOT and MnDOT Transit in particular. And they may be willing to look at authorizing the Met Council to service the corridor of North Star for bus service. In particular, we focused on Elk River and Big Lake. As of now, and these dates have moved a little bit, so I'll share with you. As of now, we think the North Star link will actually end December 31st. The reason is there's not an appetite to do an agreement for 2 days. for the link. So if the link ends on the 31st, North Star commuter service will end January 3rd, and North Star special events service will end either the January 4th or 5th, depending on the Vikings game. The conversation with the Met Council is they may be willing to extend the bus service that currently ends at Ramsey, or proposed bus service that it would be extended to Elk River and potentially Big Lake, with the possibility of also doing special event buses up to St. Cloud. Our interest is Elk River, Big Lake, and our nexus is with the current funding formula for the Met Council. We need to get a little more nuanced with them. They do receive some federal funds. We don't know if they're operational funds. But with what we're paying for the North Star link, if there was a commensurate, roughly equivalent amount to at least get buses to Elk River and possibly Big Lake, then we would think it would be of value for the county board to consider supporting that. So the request to MnDOT is to authorize Met Council to service it, and then note that they would have to negotiate, obviously, with us for that service, because the Met Council just won't pay for it. And that's fairly legitimate, because they have a sales tax in the metro that pays for it that doesn't come up here. So if the costs are similar to what we've done in for the North Star Link, which is bus to bus, then I would bring that back to you in a future conversation. So that's kind of where we're at with that particular subset of North Star. And one of the things we heard that we weren't happy about was if they get too creative with a bus route, and they try to run a bus directly from Big Lake down to the Twin Cities and not follow the route that's currently there, then we'd have to really take a serious look at it. But with that, if you guys want to add anything, my intent is to send that letter to MnDOT. They said the letter will help, but they're actually looking at the possibility right now.
Yeah, and I think the first step in this process was having them study what the cost would be. So what they're doing is, so the proposal would be is, would they authorize the Met Council to continue bus service, from Elk River and or Big Lake to replace the North Star service? And the answer there was likely. And then the next step of that is, okay, well, what we need to study what the cost would look like and what that would look like for us, so that we can make an intelligent decision on whether that's something that makes sense for us or not. But as Bruce said, if the link goes away, there would be potentially funds to be able to cover the extension of the bus service, because we would have to fund it from the county line.
And this is something that the Met Council needs the go-ahead from MnDOT to be able to start looking at. And it was encouraging to hear that MnDOT was very open to that discussion and to see where that road could lead. And it's also supported by the cities that are involved.
Yeah, and I should note for the board, we also see this as an interim to continue service. We've got about 4 months to put this together. Long-term, I still think that it's not the responsibility of the county to fund, because MnDOT Rural Transit does this. So if we're not in the Met Council urban transit area, MnDOT long-term probably has the obligation to pay for the service. But to prime the pump and to see if the ridership is justified is probably a good short-term investment.
So I have one question. So when you say the county's gonna pay for it, like when we tap the machine inside the bus, where did does that revenue come? No.
It's part of the budget, so each line would have a budget, and they call them the box revenues would be part of the revenue against the cost. So no, they won't be milking us on both ends. So, although buses are subsidized, roughly the industry says buses are about a 20% subsidy. So the fares pay for about 20% of the ride. So but it's a lot less subsidy than North Star has. So again, the two asks today, or the two notes today, is absent the board telling me no, I'll be doing 2 letters. One will be letter to MnDOT requesting that they consider authorizing the Met Council to service the area with funding and those times to be determined. And the second would be a letter to the Met Council for their official decision, which is coming up next week, putting down the marker that we have an interest in seeing Elk River and Big Lake serviced. We don't want to lose that if it's all reasonable. And that would be what I would present at the official vote of the Met Council to terminate North Star. Or Rianne, if I can get her to go, I don't know. I went to the wrong building. I had no idea Met Council had a Minneapolis office, so I'm in St. Paul and they're in Minneapolis, but it worked out.
Do you need this in a form of a motion right now, or?
I think direction of the board would be helpful, yeah.
Okay.
And it's part of our legislative package, so yeah.
I will make that motion to approve to pursue the North Star, the bus.
The letters.
The two letters.
Well,
Successor bus service North Star, yeah.
do you need a motion for the entire legislative?
Yeah, you could approve those as current and then included the motion, yeah.
So would you do a friendly
I'm
amendment?
open to a friendly amendment.
The legislative
Yep.
agenda, okay. I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Danielowski, second by Commissioner Hulls. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
And then again, if I missed any of your legislative issues that you're tracking, please let me know. We can always amend this as we move forward. But we're a little early in the process, but because of wanting to use the AMC process, this is super helpful.
Okay, moving on to commissioner reports. Who's going first? 2 minutes.
It'll be longer than that. Okay. 8-5.
I told him that.
8-5, National Night Out. Got 4 locations in Becker and 1 in Orrock. Nice discussions at all locations. The Vinyl Offender Task Force has a discussion of ongoing investigations and upcoming dispensary license issues. Those are things that are coming up for that deal. I sat through the Medicaid webinar. Really with the upcoming Medicaid cuts, there's a lot more questions than answers. I think we're going to see what happens in the long run. I mean, a lot of the things that people are concerned about are literally the people we don't necessarily want on Medicaid. If you can get up and go to work, you should probably be working. ETAC emerging issues. We have 2 open seats that need filling on the Energy Transition Advisory Council, municipal members, county, and a gas representative. Minnesota Power is really pushing for biomass up north. Once again, we're still looking at ways to get more solid base power load. On 8/11, the MCIT, Understanding Park and Rec Communities for Better Risk Management. It's an interesting discussion. One of the things I thought that was interesting is that natural pathways and artificial construction that mimic nature enjoy some immunity from civic liability. However, when you start putting in asphalt, you increase your liability because you've altered the natural environment. So that's something to think about. MESB executive, we were looking at selecting a new lobbyist. I'll have an update on that later. We had some really good folks come in from Larkin Hoffman and from Poole Haas. And then 3D response systems, we're looking at some stuff with that. The MICA board, a lot of the same issues with the state budget and things, so on and so forth. And one of the good things that was brought up at the MICA board is that we really probably shouldn't, counties shouldn't end up paying for these SNAP programs down the line, because realistically, it's a federal program. So, I mean, when the feds dump it on the state and the state dumps it on us, that's just a little bit more of a dump than we should probably have to deal with. There's also very much concerns about the act, the Minnesota African American Disproportionality, so on and so forth Act. It's just really long acronym. Everybody's concerned about that. That's a big deal. It's just a lot of money all the way across the state. Understanding federal reconciliation bill, talking once again about Medicare. Once again, there's a lot. It's worth noting that there's a lot of, the Senate has introduced a rural health care assistance bill on 8/12. So a lot of this stuff that initially the feds came in and they cut everything everywhere. we're now in the second phase of that where they're looking more specifically at the light items, and a lot of things that we're super concerned about will probably end up being funded in the long run. AMC Solid Waste Working Group, still waste to energy is the top thing that we're talking about, construction and demolition rule changes, and they're looking at maybe getting some new laws for the establishment of solid waste management districts to allow multiple jurisdictions to have more coordination in how they handle their solid waste. On 8/16, I went to a continuation of the National Night Out. The Shores of Eagle Lake had their event with bands. Big Lake Fire did bring the new ladder truck for a demo. That is quite the truck. I mean, that machine is insanely impressive. Let's see, in the general news, there's a FEMA reform package that is favorable to counties. I like reading about that. I'm still concerned about the post office issue. I would like to put something on the agenda perhaps for next time, and maybe we could put some sort of a resolution, because both Becker and Big Lake post offices are at risk of being moved out of the county. I would prefer at least, I can understand that the post office needs to cut funding. I mean, everybody complains about that for a long time, but not having our post offices inside of our county is probably a problem. General constituent issues, working on an unsafe building, general road issues, County Road 75 landing, and then I had some concerns about commercial septic. And one little last thing, more of a public service, I don't know if a lot of people realize this, but Sherburne County and Wright County have been added to the deer feeding list for the state, or the no deer feeding list for the state of Minnesota. This is a renewal of a temporary order. The Department of Natural Resources has the ability to issue these temporary orders, and what they've been doing with the deer feeding ban is they keep reissuing that temporary order before it expires. Sherburne and Wright County are being included in the ban because there was one deer in Hennepin that tested positive. There's been no positive testing up here, and during my communication with the Department of Natural Resources on this. So, but because we're within 20 miles of the border of Hennepin County, we're in the ban. So people should know that there's no feeding, salt. You can't use attractants. You can't use doe and heat attractants when you're hunting this year inside of Sherburne County. Your bird feeders have to be up off the ground. I don't imagine the DNR is going to be running around trying to write tags on this, but if somebody's calling and complaining, it's a $300 fine, and it's an additional $300 fine for failure to remove them. I'd like that our county attorney doesn't have to process all of these. It would be a problematic deal. And one of my big concerns is that the deer here have never wintered without supplemental feeding. There's a lot of deer here that have never gotten through the winter without supplemental feeding because somebody's been feeding them their whole lives. So there could be significant losses, and people may want to fill as many tags as they can to reduce the population before this winter hits.
Mr. Chair, real quick question. So if some apples fall from your apple tree, are you supposed to run right out there and pick them up?
No, anything that's part of a normal agricultural thing, but if you're spreading the apples,
I was being facetious.
Yeah, and you're not even supposed to, you're supposed to limit the access that they would have to say, if you've got bales stored outside, you need to try to keep the deer off the bales. It's all part of the same deal. So that's kind of where we're at with that.
Brad wants that job, so he was thinking that would be a good job for him, so.
Yeah. No, we're good.
No.
Mr. Chairman, I'll go next.
Okay.
National Night Out, District 477. I met the new superintendent, told him that we'll have that county road all taken care of, and gave him the timeline before school starts. So really impressed with the work that we've done at Sherburne County, and they wanted us to relay that to you guys at the board from the school district. Roundabout visit in Zimmerman, it's coming along great. We're doing really well. The pavement's down. We had law enforcement on site because people were starting to use it before it was open over the weekend. And then I did the employee review, the fireman's dance and fundraiser for the city of Baldwin. And the employee review, I did enjoy that thoroughly. But I just wanted to let you guys know I'm excited for it to be the way I'm used to it instead of the way we do it here, which is a little different than what I'd done in my previous position. And so, which will be discussed later. Thank you.
Andrew.
All right, so we met as the Mississippi Watershed. We had our first meeting as a joint powers, and that went quite well. I want to thank county attorney and everyone that did all their work on that to bring that to fruition. So now we're on to the execution phase, and we've started to receive funds from Bowser. So that will start moving forward. Met with the tech steering committee. One thing that we've discussed, we probably need to do another workshop on AI. We were pretty restrictive in our original direction, which I think was the right thing to do. But I think at this point we've got enough information and enough experience that we need to relook at the county policy. So that's something we probably need to do through a workshop. Met with, did the meeting with MnDOT on the bus service, potential bus service to replace part of the North Star service. You know, I think as we talked about it originally, North Star itself was just not economically viable. I think the number was we were supplementing each rider something to the effect of $4,600 a month for the train. So that's just not sustainable. However, if we do bus service right, it's a fraction of that cost, and it may make sense. But we need to see what the price tag is, and make a good informed decision once all that comes together. But I like the direction we're going. It was a very productive conversation with MnDOT, so I'm pleased with that. I made arrangements. We're doing a tour for Liz Steinbaugh, who's the legislative director for Congressman Emmer's office. She will be coming in, I believe, on the 25th, and she'll be doing a tour with HHS. The idea there is to demonstrate the challenges with our HHS IT systems, as well as the verification requirements that are part of HR 1, so that they can understand where they need to push federally the administrative requirements to make it easier on us. So may not reduce the number of verifications that need to have place, but maybe makes it easier to administer it. Need to understand why our computer systems are so bad. So we've got a nice opportunity there to really demonstrate what the issues are we see with our systems and subsystems inside HHS. So we need to take advantage of that.
Mr. Chairman, could I interject? On the 25th of this month?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm writing it down.
And then we already talked about North Star. We already talked about Liz coming in. I did want to mention just briefly on a personal note that a week from today is my grandmother's 101st birthday. Oh. So we'll be celebrating that next week. And I think that's everything I needed to cover.
Cool.
Please tell your grandmother happy birthday. 101st is that's a big thing. All right, I'm next.
You're next.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. August 6th, watch the North Star transition meeting. A lot of these meetings are online. You can watch them through YouTube. And so that was a very interesting meeting to observe. August 7th, attended the Navigating Key Land Use Issues seminar put on by MCIT. I was very, very happy that we had a good contingent from our planning and zoning department and our board of
Adjustments.
Yes, thank you. The Board of Adjustments were there, as well as staff. Learned a lot of good things in regards to helping have better understanding of what your role is and how the law views it, So hopefully keeps us out of any potential litigations. Also attended or watched the Understanding Federal Changes to Medicaid Benefits and Impacts to Counties. I think the underlying thing is what is going to really, we're going to have to stay on top of, is the extra time it's going to take from staff to accommodate all of these changes and the costs that we're going to incur to do the regulations and stuff. That's the biggest thing that I got out of it, was there is going to be a cost to this. August 8th, attended the meeting with Craig from MnDOT, and also was Elk River's administrator was there, along with Bruce, along with, as Commissioner Hulls has already talked about, he was online, and so was Andrew Witter. And I agree, I think we had a very productive meeting going forward. Also, August 9th, the big Eagle Lake Association fundraiser was held at Lupulin. This group is really good at putting, this is their annual barbecue fundraiser. They had 11 entrants, and so there was 11 judgings of pulled pork. I've been a judge on this event for pretty much since its inception. And I want to say, I think this was their 12th. Also, August 12th, attended the Options Blackbird Laundry business. This is going to have, they had a groundbreaking today, actually at 10 o'clock in Big Lake, to start putting up the Options Blackbird Laundry facility that will be in the city of Big Lake. So exciting that this has been some years in the planning process. We're finally getting ready to break ground and build this facility, which will also have 2 rental units on the top level of the laundromat. Attended the information session on virtual assistants, bookkeepers, and resilience coaches that our Economic Development Director, Brian Fleming, put on. There was a good handful of people in the attendance in the Maple Room, found a lot of great information that was provided. August 13th, attended the Sub-Coalition meeting. They will be before us at our workshop in regards to the county tobacco ordinance. Also wanted to give an update on the cannabis update that we had at our meeting. There are 61 registered low edible licensees in the county, and there are 10 approved licenses in the state of Minnesota so far to date. So I found that interesting. So cannabis, and also needing to change the word cannabis. We can't just call it marijuana, pot, weed. We need to use formal language, cannabis. So hopefully everybody understand what we're talking about. Also then attended my, attended the MCIT Parks and Rec Safety webinar. And that was interesting too. A lot of what that is to make sure that you're doing your parks and your recreation opportunities in a way that will keep you, again, out of litigation. So make sure you keep up on the safety requirements and provide safe access for everybody that uses your facilities. Also accessing and understanding local census data webinar. That was very interesting. There is so much data that you can get out of the every 10-year census information that's collected. And so I found that, and you can narrow it down to your own county use, down to your city uses, township uses. So that was very informative. August 14th, attended the First Steps meeting virtually. I am the alternate on that. That's the Joint Powers Board. They do a lot of great work in regards to our littles, and it's a great partnership with Wright County, Sherburne County, Stearns County, and Benson County. Also, let me see, attended the Understanding the Federal Reconciliation Bill and Impacts to Our Counties. Again, a lot of this is going to come down to the cost for us to manage this and personnel. and the requirements, and that's where a lot of our dollars are going to be spent. Had my APO board meeting that same evening up in St. Cloud. After the APO board meeting, we met with Pastor Carroll on the homelessness in regards to our Tri-County area and what it is that we can do to help facilitate relieving homeless and what the efforts are that a lot of these nonprofits are doing and how they're, again, we talked many times about how we have silos that operate to do things, and one silo doesn't know what the other silo is doing, and how can we better organize that to be able to get people the help they need to get them out of chronic homelessness. And also making sure that we do a fine line to not do too much that will attract outside of our area. And let me see. I think that is about it. Oh, sorry. Also, August 15th is Sherburne County. We met again with the North Star Corridor. And as Bruce had indicated, got that email from Michael Anderson and his thank you for what we've done in regards to placing that sign. And I am very proud that we were able to accomplish that. Now I'm done.
Now you're done. Well, the biggest news I've got is, anybody know what day it is today?
Are you going to tell us?
Yep, it's National Potato Day.
Of course it is.
So
Holy
my
buckets.
my question is, why didn't Greg do this? He does this every
I-
meeting.
Those days, I do month stuff.
Yeah, it's
That's a
National
big
Potato.
day.
I could end right there, but I'll keep going. I did National Night Out. Again, my district is massive. There were 5 events. I focused on one this year, which was great discussion. August 6th, I did an employee review. August 7th, the MCIT conference with zoning. Rand touched on that already. The AMC webinar on HHS and medical assistance by AMC was great. I also attended the 4 and 169 open house in Zimmerman. I always kind of like to go to those just to gauge how much employee the residential involvement is, which I think, Andrew, it was a lot, there was a lot more people than when I got there earlier. Yeah, okay. The sub-coalition, Rand talked about that. The MCIT webinar, and I did in regards to park liability and exposure. I thought was very interesting of what, our exposure isn't as great as you would think for parks, and what people have to take care of themselves, manage themselves, basically what they're saying. Did the AMC reconciliation bill webinar, the MCIT meeting, Greg already touched on. The first steps, I'm the primary on that one. I think that's a great program for all of our littles in the county. I did the SWCD meeting on the 14th also, and on the 18th I did the Joint Powers Board, which is very interesting. Don was there, Mike was there. It was a Zoom meeting. Mille Lacs County is the primary on this Joint Powers Board. They have 3 members. Benton County has 1 commissioner, and I'm the commissioner from Sherburne. They were told we were joining remotely. They did not publish it correctly. We thought it was because they didn't publish our location. Well, that would have been the old law. The new law, we don't have to publish our location. But they didn't publish it at all, that we were remotely. Am I correct, Don?
That's my understanding, yes.
Yes.
And so I had communicated to council, but the board continued to take action.
Yeah.
So.
Mille Lacs could have continued on with the public hearing, but then tabled the decision-making process for a later date until we all could, but no, they didn't. They didn't table it. So basically, what we've been working on for 2 years was made the decision by the Mille Lacs County members. Benton and Stearns were shut out. Whether that decision was right or wrong, it was made, it's done. They could have tabled it and waited, but their administrator didn't step forward, their attorney didn't step forward, their auditor treasurer didn't step forward to do what was right. They just continued to do what, in my perception, was conceivably wrong. And Mike, I think you'd probably agree on that. Don, I'm the same way. I mean, we had 5 members online from Sherburne County, and we were, I think, the most represented county, but all of our mics were turned off and we were not allowed to talk.
And if you're okay, I'll follow, I'll talk to Monty, but I'll follow up with Dylan. That shouldn't have happened, in my
It shouldn't
opinion.
have happened. I mean,
Yeah, unless you disagree, so. You're okay with that?
yeah.
You want to clarify that's about County Ditch 1 that we?
Ditch 1A, which is in, probably 80% of the ditch is in Mille Lacs, which I would agree, and hence there are 3 members on the board. But the board was formed for us to make a decision jointly, and we were not allowed to even participate
On a shared ditch.
in a shared ditch.
And I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, if I may, and just to clarify, this is a joint powers entity, and so Sherburne is one member of that entity. And so when we're talking about things that did and did not happen, it was the responsibility of the joint powers entity to have been properly making notice and conducting that. And so it did not fall on and should not have fallen on Sherburne County specifically.
Right. So, anyway.
And just so you know, Keisha's sitting there saying, it never would have happened if she was in charge. So.
Glad to hear that. But no, yeah, it gave a really bad taste in your mouth about how the process went down. So anyway, that's all I've got.
Mr.
Before we
Chair,
take a break, I just have to
question.
note, oh, go ahead.
Since Andrew's in the room, can I just, it doesn't have to be now, can I just get a follow-up on when the home on County Road 44 south of the railroad tracks is due to be just torn down? Because it's sitting there right now without a front wall.
Go ahead, Andrew.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioner Hulls. So the plan was to have it taken down last week, but they ran into a permitting issue, I believe, with some hazardous materials in the home. So I will get you a specific time period, but I believe it's supposed to be within the next week or 2.
Okay.
Yep.
Super quick, just want to note, there are 20 people watching live. Any guess who might be one of those 20 who maybe is on vacation this week, shouldn't be logging in and watching a county board meeting and might be visiting some baseball? Could it be Dan?
Hi, Dan.
Yes, and I suggested he jump on and say hi, and he did not want to. So we're going to take a selfie here in a quick second. I'll send it to him. But, of course, typical Dan, he reminded me of things I should be telling you. So I will share with you those because they are economic development related and in his wheelhouse. And so, first, we now have 2 partners, speaking of joint partnerships, for Region 7W Economic Development District, federal. So Benton County approved it and Stearns County has approved it. So we have 3 entities that will be creating a federal economic development district. We'll talk more on Thursday with the EDA. Yay for that. The second one was to note that we had the first successful applicant for the homeowners rehabilitation program. That was approved. So congratulations. We executed that yesterday. And then just a couple other notes. Speaking of multiple activities coming, Mr. Witter is working with me and we'll try to use your outlooks to find a time for a groundbreaking for the Zimmerman overpass. That will be fun. It'll be very positive for that community. So we'll be working on that. And then last but not least, we talked a little bit about nuclear power. Just a reminder, the first nuclear power plant in Minnesota was in Elk River. So we have always been an energy county and probably always will. With that, I'm going to do a quick picture and then you can do your break. So.
Let's go straight in the ditch.
We're going into the ditch.
Outstanding.
Let's go straight into the ditch.
Then we'll take the break.
Now go straight in the ditch? Okay.
Yep. All right.
Okay.
We need to approve the ditch authority agenda.
I move to approve.
Second.
Mr. Chair, did you recess the regular meeting?
No, I did not. We will recess the regular meeting.
I make a motion to do that.
Second.
Need a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you, Don.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Commissioner Schubacher moves to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Felber approves to second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Let's do it.
Now, consider and approve. We're going to listen to Mike's ditch report.
There we go.
Beautiful.
It's working. Morning, everyone.
Any questions or comments on my written report before I get started?
I can hear the background of the picture.
That picture, that's actually out the front door of my cabin.
I can still hear it.
That's on the Mississippi River up by Lake Winnebagosh.
Wow.
Thought,
It's a big ditch.
yeah, something to feel a little better other than a beaver dam. County Ditch 15. This is the area we've been working on pretty frequently. There was a very large dam down by the Elk River and a smaller dam closer to the road. I had pretty extensive pictures at the last meeting. But after, oh, it's going crazy here. But after we blew the dam down by the river, let a lot of water go. And we also blew this dam, the smaller dam here, which is probably 100 yards or so off south of County Road 61, west of County Road 20. And after the water receded about 2.5 feet, there were still remnants of the dam that was still somewhat impeding water, but more or less it'd be more of something to get snagged up on and create another dam, and an easier spot for the beavers to rebuild this dam. So I thought it'd be best, as long as we're at it, we might as well just finish it and get rid of it. So this is about a week and a half later. Loaded up the boat. Water's still too deep to even attempt to walk through with waders.
How you
And
been
muck.
doing it using that blue can in the bottom there?
That is bug spray.
Oh, I know it is. Oh, I know it is. Oh, I know it is.
Yeah. Dangerous, but not so much as what we're using. In the bag is the charges in the black bag. The right and left, those are the plungers that he uses to plunge in the holes of the dam. The yellow ones, one has a hook on the end and the other one is just a walking stick. On the left, the green is the det cord, and on the right, the red and white, that is the discharge wire. And this is us heading to the dam. We did have oars. There was not oars in the last picture. This is remnants of what was left from the first time. Our conclusion was that we determined that a lot of the concussion of the explosives was absorbed by the water.
Yep.
Where it just couldn't get it all the way above the surface and into the air. So we set 5 or 6 more charges in here, plus one TNT charge. That's the wire attached to the det cord. We decided it would be best to use this rather than a fuse because there's traffic coming and going, and when you have a fuse, you're at the mercy of the fuse. You don't have direct. So, but when you have a discharge button that runs on batteries, it's instantaneous. So you can time it to your liking. I do have a video of us blowing that dam at the end. Ditch 31. Inside of Woodland Trails Park here in the city of Elk River. We are, later today, we're gonna go try to find a tile line. Resident called He's flooded. This is back in his back property, which adjoins the city, is right next to the city park. This is one of the lower lands next to a wetland, which is next to another wetland. He's claiming that since the city put in a winter walking trail and skiing trail, they hauled in fill with equipment across between these two wetlands. And he says ever since then, the water's been backing up. So we are going to determine if this tile line was crushed. It is over 100 years old, so it's probably wasn't in the best condition to begin with. So our plan is to go find the tile and expose it to see if the water will come and run out of there, and replace it with a section or two of PVC, or dual wall plastic pipe underneath the trail. But our goal is to get the water to run to the north to the open ditch of ditch 31. He has been harvesting maple syrup in here. So his maple trees are pretty much drowning right now. You can see in the upper portion, you can see the wetland there that is next to his backyard with all the maple trees. Just another view. What's going on
Go
here?
back one. Sorry, go back one.
This is, back one more.
Oh, I wanted to see the dead trees. They're dead already.
Yeah. As you can see, they're stressed. Hopefully they'll come back after we get the water out of there. Maple trees they're pretty tough, so we're hoping for the best here.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the situation that he's in. He's actually an absentee landowner. He lives in Benson, so communication has been not the best. He's out of town, or I try to get a hold of him. He tries to get a hold of me, and it's just back and forth, back and forth. So finally, we did meet out there one day and walk back there and assess the situation. So and came up with a game plan. So hopefully our next meeting here, I'll have better news. Also too, on ditch 31, is in my written report. I met with a landowner on York Street. He has a pasture that's been really wet. So there is a tile line that was replaced about 20 years ago. It is working. We found out that it is working. It's just very slow. I don't know, I compare it to draining a bathtub with a thimble. It's just such a huge area. It just takes a long time. And when it does recede, we get more rain and it's back to where it was. So the tile line is running. We were out there last week with the GPS unit and took some elevations. The outlet where the tile runs into the open ditch and to the next riser, a standpipe where we can observe the water levels and flows. There was 1,700 of fall and 433 feet, which is basically flat. So 1,700 is like 2 inches, and 433 feet, which is 0.04%, which is basically nothing, but it is flowing. One thing we can do is get rid of some of the trees this winter, but to go in there and replace the tile isn't going to accomplish anything but spending money. So, but it is working. It is a lot drier than it was a month ago. So that's where we're at with that. Until it quits working completely, is when we'll think about doing something else. But right now we're standing
Mr. Chair?
standing still.
I have a quick question.
Yep.
I think these are good examples too, that people can understand why those ditches are necessary.
Yeah.
Because if they weren't there, and it shows that when things happen to block them up, what happens to the people's land.
Yeah.
And so I think these are good examples of why ditches are important.
Yeah. And this resident has horses. So his horses were pretty restricted to the higher ground. because they couldn't go out there, they just trample, and worst case scenario, they may get stuck out there. That's happened before. Here's a video of the ditch 15.
Okay.
That one kind of surprised me a little bit. It was a little more explosion than I thought. I don't know if you heard what he said. He said, "I just got a shower."
You were correct. There's a stick on the road.
Yeah, so there was a little bit of cleanup, a few sticks to take off the road, but we took care of it. And Jeff, the gentleman that does the explosives and blows the dams for me, he's been doing this a long time, so he's learned that he needs to bring a change of clothes with him every time he goes, just in case he does get soaked or falls in or whatever. It happens, so. That's all I have. Any questions?
Questions? Need a motion to approve the ditch report?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hull, second by Commissioner Felber. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
See this part.
Now we consider approve and authorize the billing of proposed 2025 county drainage assessments. Lorraine again. I shouldn't say again. Honored to have your presence again.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So each year, the ditches actually run on a fiscal year, June 30th, July 1. So we look at the actual costs that are expended out on each ditch and the benefit that individuals get from those ditches. And we go through a process that we actually come with billings for these ditches that will be sent out. What you have in front of you is the ditch expenses from the individual ditches. If you can put that up, Keisha. The ditch expense spreadsheet. There you go. It shows you what expenses from the prior year had not been billed out, what expenses were taken into account in the past fiscal year, and what we are looking at to, as proposed assessments for 2025. As you can see, not all ditches are billed, but those that we need to maintain had more expenses. They are the ones that we try to touch on each year to keep them current. We do pride ourselves that we do maintain our ditches so that we don't have major problems. You do look at them every year. You get Mike's reports on what are being done. So what I have in front of you is what we believe should be the assessments for 2025, and I'm looking for a motion to approve those assessments.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Schumacher, second by Commissioner Felber. Any further discussion?
Nobody wants to pay for it unless it's broken. And sometimes it takes maintenance and prevention to make sure it doesn't get broken, and this is the cost.
Well said. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion
Thank you very
carries.
much.
Thank you, Lorraine.
So these billings will go out tomorrow. We have them prepared and ready to go, so if you do get calls, just refer them to our office and we will explain to them what's going on with each ditch. Okay?
Sounds good.
You.
We are doing a break.
So we'll recess this meeting?
Yeah.
We'll close this meeting?
Adjourn the Ditch Authority meeting. We're still in recess of the other one. We'll take a 10-minute break and come back for solar.
So